I'll start the.
Rekha Mataji is doing.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, everyone. So, all ready for the 4th chapter?
Yes, madam, we are ready.
I'm glad now I can hear all voices. So, Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna Mataji.
Okay. So, let's continue our 4th chapter. And before that, let's start off with Mangalacharan. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanattimurandasya Jnananjala Chalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Dadati Swapadatikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpati Gopeshu Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishamanusute Devi Pranamani Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vatsadi Gaura Bhakta Brinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna devotees. Just a quick recap of what we saw yesterday, and then we will continue. So we, what is the name of the yesterday's chapter? Of course, it's on the screen, but still.
Jnana Yoga.
Yeah, Transcendental Knowledge. So Transcendental Knowledge is Jnana Yoga. So today we will continue our Jnana, and let's pay our obeisances to Shri Radhe Govinda. 3rd chapter we saw, so straight to the 4th chapter. So 4th chapter is talking about a lot of knowledge about Krishna himself and the parampara. So when did Krishna speak to Arjuna? How many years back did he speak to Arjuna about Bhagavad Gita?
5,000.
5,000 years.
Perfect. And when was originally Gita spoken? First time.
120,000 million.
20 million years.
Thank you so much, Hare Krishnas. So all full, very attentive devotees I have. Thank you so much. So that is what we discussed mainly, where we have to follow the parampara system, and that the Gita was not spoken 5,000 years ago. So it starts off with the first shloka, 1 and 10, talks about Krishna's knowledge and the parampara system, and also goal of all paths and why Varnashrama was created. Right? So we will quickly jump into Varnashrama in depth. So this is what Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Imam Vivasvate Yogam Proktavanaham Avyayam Vivasvan Manave Praha Manur Ikshvakave Bravi. So 4 generations the book is going, and this book is not an ordinary material book. We should understand this is Krishna. There are 4 paramparas through which Krishna's direct mercy, right? He has brought the book down, right, to us for us to understand. And this is ever eternal, right? Because 5,000 years back or 120 million years ago, irrespective of how many years back it is spoken, the value is, it's always a valid book, right? It does not have a expiry date, right? It's from Supreme God. So it's a super person. We also said, notice that the life of Brahma is not eternal, and Brahma is just a post. So anybody can occupy that. Even you can occupy as demigod if you have enough qualification and interest to take it forward. We saw that Brahma's one day, right, is 4.32 billion years, and his entire life is 311 trillion years. So these are questions I should have asked you. How did I miss? Okay. So how many years is left in Kali Yuga? And how much is 1 second of Brahma in our years? Hare?
1 lakh years.
1 lakh years.
100,000 years. Yeah. Mhm.
How many years is left is our Kali Yuga? Okay, tell me how many years are Kali Yuga?
4,32,000.
Yes, and 5,000 years went away, right? So minus that. So how
Fine.
much is left?
4,27,000.
27.
Thank you so much. Right? So he's talking about what are the two qualifications of Arjuna. One is he's a devotee and a friend, and I wanted to give you a homework, but then Mataji already answered that yes, one more qualification which comes in the 9th chapter is he is without envy, right? Also it talks about how he was born, and Arjuna, wanted to know that he was his contemporary, which means his age, and how did he manage to, tell so many years back. And Krishna explains about himself where his form and rupa is not temporary, it's permanent. And because he does not change his body, his memory also does not diminish, and he comes to a spiritual body. Avatar means ascent, it comes as it is. So when you say Ram Avatar, there is Rama in Vaikuntha, in the place called Ayodhya, not just in India, but in Vaikuntha. Same way, the Krishna is present in not just Goloka Vrindavan, but he is also present in Mathura, Dwaraka, and not just the Indian Mathura and Dwaraka, but also over there. So Krishna is not bound by any rules, right? So he comes Mahatma Mayaya on his own, right? And other, why does he come? Very important shloka. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutam adharmasya tadatmanam sarjamyaham. So he's coming whenever he feels that there is a decline in religious practice. So religion means dharma, and dharma does not just have one meaning. Dharma actually has many meanings. But the main meaning is, one of the meanings discussed here is your nature, right? What is your nature? We are conditioned soul, and we are part of parcels of Krishna, right? That's the main thing. 4.8, another one. Why did Krishna appear? Pranaya sadhunam pinasaya chadushkritam dharma samstapanartaya sambhavani yuge yuge. He comes to deliver the pious, annihilate the miscreants, and to re-establish dharma, the principles of religion. This is also very important. What is the benefit of Krishna's appearance and activities? Janma karma jame divyam, right? Very divyam. Evam yo veti tatvatah tatva eham punarjanma neti mam eti sorjuna, right? So his appearance, whoever understands that, will break this cycle of birth and death. And vita ragabhaya krodha manmayama upashritaya bhagavo jnana tapasa putamadbhavam agataha, right? So he says, by doing that, what happens? You get complete freedom from fear and anger and ashrita. You take refuge in me. Many persons who have done that in past, have attained my supreme abode. So what is the supreme abode place called?
Goloka Vrindavan.
Goloka.
Sorry?
Goloka.
Yes, Goloka Vrindavan. So he's giving us he's telling you all have the passport to come to Goloka, but the visa to go to Goloka is what he's speaking, right? What is the visa, right? And it is a lifetime, one-time visa. So once you go, you can destroy the visa. You're not going to come back here. So beautifully is explained. Now, we also saw towards the end 11.15 till 15, 4.11 to 15. So what is he saying? If this is very beautiful starting. It's a conversation like. So he says that ye yata mam prapadyante tamstateva bhajamyaha mama vartuman nu vartante mushyam partha sarvashah. So I reward them accordingly, Partha. So, he can see Karta's mind working. Okay, you're rewarding accordingly. That's fine. Then why do people, going for demigod worship? If you're rewarding, then why should they go to Devatas, right? So Krishna is showing here, right? I have 3 levels of realization. What are the 3 levels of realization of Krishna?
Brahman, Paramatma, and Krishna.
Yes, that is Supreme Person. Which is the highest?
Bhagavan.
Virat Rupa or Vishwarupa is close to which form? We will discuss in 11th chapter. But Virat Rupa is which form?
Paramatma.
Bhagavan.
Even I used to think that. So Virat Rupa.
Bhagavan.
No, Virat Rupa is the Brahma Jyoti, the lowest, the Brahma form. That is why we don't pray the Virat Rupa. There are people who do pray Virat Rupa, but actually we don't pray Virat Rupa because this is a material form and that's the only form which is not in Vaikuntha. So I thought I'll give you that bit. So Virat Rupa is very close to the Brahman form because it's the effulgence and it is only present in the material place, right? So that's the thing. And Krishna reciprocates. How? So as Yagneshwara to fruitive activity people, as Brahma Jyoti, he allows the impersonal to say however long they are until they get bored. And he does give mystic powers to yogi, but that's not going to help, going from here to moon or thing is not going to increase their life. And to devotees, he's in 5 rasas. So all of you all we'll all pray two-handed form of this lovely Krishna and take our visa out there in Goloka and we will have classes there. Hare Krishna. All ready? All silent. I thought, yes. No? Hare Krishna.
We are ready, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji, because only Shyam Prabhuji said he wants to stay here. We all are with, we are all planning a trip, right? So please, Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Sure. Angshanta karmanam siddhim yajatahya devataha shripam hi manushe loka siddhir bhavati karmaja. Hare Krishna. So why? This is what he's asking. Why do they do this? Right? This is like the chocolate and the 500 rupee. A child immediately snatches. So people who are materialistic this year want immediate results. So therefore, immediately they snatch. However, devatas are part and parcels of Krishna, and they are, they have limited powers which they use for taking care of us. They are like our uncles, right? They will give us, and they'll be like the Santa Claus, right? Give us what we want. But Krishna is the one who purifies and gives us what we need and make us pure. So immediately Arjuna says, oh my God, devatas, then what can happen? So Krishna says, don't worry. Chatur varnyam maya shrishtam gunakarma vibhagasha tasya kartaram api mam vidya kartaram avyayam. So Chatur, right? 4 caste I have created. So now back to you. 4 varnas. Someone who's not answered, please go ahead. What are the 4 varnas?
Brahmacharya, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasi.
Prabhu, that's ashram.
Oh,
Shudra. One is Shudra.
Brahman.
Kshatriya.
Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra.
Yes, so please remember, varnas are the 4 because varnas, you're born, guna karma, right? Based on your guna and karma, your varna is already decided. It's a package given to you. But your state ashrama is a decision which you make, right? At a various age. And that to an extent is linked. For example, ashrama of a brahmachari, Brahmin, right? Brahmins have all, Hare Krishna. Brahmins will take care of all 4, right? They will follow the first 25 years. They'll have brahmacharism. Then they'll get married and have Krishna conscious children. Then they will take their wife on, to pilgrimage 50 to 75, and end of the day, last 25 years, he goes on sannyasi, he follows all 4. Whereas a Kshatriya does not get into sannyasi, which is very important, which is why Arjuna, is told, boss, what are you talking about sannyasi? Right? It ends with Vanaprastha. And for Vaishya, right, he doesn't even go into Vanaprastha, he just focuses on his Grahastha life through. And the Sudra, gets married and he is permanently a Grahastha. And why? These are all done with the purpose. If you ask a Sudra to become a Brahmachari and meditate, it's not going to be possible for him, right? He will automatically get attached to a lot of vices. So that is why, they keep him in Grahastha life. So there's a purpose, and that's based on your guna and karma, right? What you have done. And Krishna very clearly says here, and very important test question, there is no work that affects me, right? And I don't have to do, but then why do I do? Because in the 3rd chapter, he has told, right, 3.20, right? Yad yad acharati shresha tattad evetan ojuna sayat pramanam kurute lokastad anuvartate. Therefore, he does all of this, right? So that's duty. At the end of the class, remind me of Bhishma Pitama, so I can tell that story. So again, now we are ending the third module, which we saw yesterday, the third session. All liberated souls in ancient times acted as per in this way, right? And therefore they did it as a form of duty. So Prabhu, you had it out how? Because everybody in the ancient time, whether he's a king or a Sudra, understood the concept and they did it in the form of duty. And therefore, everyone will follow the footsteps and take it forward. So we have to understand karma in the platform of Jnana. Why are they saying that? Because karma by itself, like how I said, Dharma has many meanings. Karma has many meanings. So one is, we all know, my karma, my sin, my fate, is stuck because of this, right? So whatever you do in your past decides, that's your baggage, right? But karma has three, also, karma also means pious activities, right? Work is also karma. Pious activities are also called karma. So let's try and understand from the context what they are saying, right? Why do you want to understand karma from Jnana point of view? Because we do not want reactions. Now, what reactions we don't want, bad or good?
Good.
You don't want good reaction, so you want to have bad reaction.
Bad reaction.
Good reactions.
Sorry, Mataji, what Prabhu?
Bad. We
Yeah,
do
we
not.
want-
Yeah.
You don't want bad reaction, you just want good reaction. Okay. So what is a bad reactions called? What is a bad things called?
The sense.
Bad things are called vikarma. So any action is called karma, not any action. Action as per Vedic is called karma, right? So we want to remove what you said. We want to clear up the karmic bank balance. The only difference is he doesn't say whether it's good or bad. So let's see that. Karma is a universal law. For every action, there is an equal and an equal reaction. How opposite we will see later, but then is there. Bad, karma, obviously we don't want, right? So we want to get, but then Kṛṣṇa is telling even good karma you should not. Mataji says she wants credits for good karma, but Kṛṣṇa is telling, no, I want to remove off the good karma also from you. That's very sad. No, we don't want to give. We are very possessive about the good karma. We only want the sins to be removed, right? So why? Because this beyond the good and bad. So karma means action, any action, right? So any karma by itself means action as per Vedic scriptures. Action against Vedic scriptures is called vikarma, right? Actions around Krishna is called. This is very important. Why? Because we are going to see that now. Actions which are performed in terms of one's prescribed duties. So that's very important. It's not like what I like, right? My grandfather is a thief. I can't become thief because it's my duty. No, it is prescribed duty. Nowhere it is read that you can become a thief. And as mentioned in the revealed scriptures, right? And actions which are performed by misuse of one's freedom, right? Why do we say every time, it was a very funny thing. My brother's friend, it seems he was drinking and he was arguing that Krishna only made me drink. Why would he make you drink? So if Krishna is making you do something every time, then you're a robo, right? Which he doesn't want to do. The very purpose of you to come here to the material world is because you want to lord over this material world and say that I am the boss of the world. So you have to make the decision. You're a boss. But the decision is given limited freedom, right? Based on what? Based on your karma credits, right? Karma bank balance. What you do is your choice. So you have a chocolate or an ice cream and you have a chili, right? You have a choice to eat. Both are right there in your house, right? Same way, there is a poison, rat poison is kept right there, whatever, right? And there is badam ghee. You have a choice which one you have to drink. So you don't, whatever is convenient, you don't do. You do what's best for you, right? And that's as per the scriptures, because scriptures always tell what is best for you. Akarma is free from cycle of birth and death. Why? We are going to see this shortly, right? And why I will tell now, otherwise your head will spin. So all of us know vikarma, we go to hell. Karma, we go to heaven. But what happens, is our aim to go to heaven, right? We all told that we have a passport and we are applying for visa. So the visa, destination of the visa has to be, we all decided Goloka. So if you need to go to Goloka, then you have to get karma. Because if you get karma visa stamp, then you will go to Swargaloka. That's not the destination you or I are aiming at, right? You get my point? So our visa stamping. So if you take a ticket to Delhi, you will not go to Switzerland, you land in Delhi. So if you do karma, which is good credits, then you won't go to Goloka Vrindavan, you will land up in Swargaloka. You may tell, Mataji, I'm doing good things, is it wrong? No, no, it's not wrong, it's right. But then give it that also to Krishna, because whatever good things you do, there is a possibility of something bad happening and that can pull you down. And even if it's only good and you go to Swarga, it's like your visa period, it has a valid visa. Only to Krishna's spiritual world, the visa does not expire, but all these places has an expiry date. So after your credits of karma, positive karma goes, you have to come back from the Swarga Loka and meet Shyam Prabhuji here in the material world. So that's important, right? So we don't want to come back and meet Shyam Prabhuji. We'll wait for him there to come, right? So therefore, we will focus on akarma. So give away every credit, right? So now let's get into Jnana. So what is action, forbidden action? We just saw. Whoever wants to read can start after I chant. Kim karma kim akarmeti kavayopi atra mohitaha tatte karma pravakshyami yajnatva mokhyase shubhat. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Very nice message. And Abhishek, very nice. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Sudra. Perfect.
Even the intelligents are bewildered in determining what is action and what is inaction. Now I shall explain to you what action is, knowing which you shall be liberated from all misfortune. Hare Krishna.
Intelligence, Hare Krishna. Intelligence also confused. They're sitting and breaking their head, which is fortune, which is because we're confused, right? Because we always feel we don't want bad. Can happen, right? This has always been our perception, how much ever we tell. So Krishna is going to explain. Hare Krishna. Karma no hepi bodhavyam bodhavyam cha vikarmanaha akarmanascha bodhavyam kahana karma no gati. Hare Krishna.
The intricacies of actions are very hard to understand. Therefore, one should know properly what action is, what forbidden action is, and what inaction is. Hare Krishna.
Telling, thank you, Hare Krishna. So inaction is akarma. So I always tell one way of not getting karma, not getting any good or bad is not to do any action. But even when you're not doing any action, even a sannyasi who goes and runs away to a Himalaya, remember he has to do some kind of an action for his own food. Let's assume that he has given up worldly pleasures, but over there he has to eat, right? So, or while he walks to one place to another, he may stamp insect, and that's also a sin, knowingly or unknowingly, right? Unknowingly, you go and bump someone in the road, you are going to be punished, right? By the law, it's not going to say, hey, you did it unknowingly, you're pardoned, right? Same way, unknowingly is also a sin, and same way when he cooks in the fire, you know, a lot of insects could die without our knowledge. So, a lot of, even in karma, which means he thinks there is absolute inaction, there is some kind of an action, and which we are going to see. So just vikarma, don't follow the Vedic rules. They have a risk of getting downgraded to the lower species. Before that, there are 28 28 hellish planets in 3rd canto, 26th chapter. You all can have a look. Not appreciated by saintly people because they don't want to do that, and it defeats the purpose of life. Hare Krishna. Karmi follows the Vedas, right? They are very pious. They are very, very pious people, and they attain the Svarga, body of demigods. Eventually, they have to come to Martya Loka, right? Martya Loka is our earth. Why? Because it's like the visa expiring. Fakirmik is they are focused on devotional service, so they are not going to take the fruits which they don't want credits or this. So this is like a child having a sponsorship, right? So let's take this example. You have a child who is in a college and they say, okay, I am going to sponsor a particular course, and I'm not telling you the cost of the course, but then you want the course and I'm going to give you a merit 100% for 80% score you get. But if you would like to know the fee structure and all that, I will share it with you, but I will not sponsor 100%. I will sponsor only 75%, balance 25% you will take, which is a more wiser plan. Should he get to know what is the actual fees which he is getting, amount of sponsorship, or you should just not care? Forget what is a sponsorship amount. I'm getting sponsorship 100%. I should focus on 80. What should be the focus of the child? Hare Krishna. Did I make my question confusing that I have a pin drop silence and attendance sheet is there which you can fill later? But
Concentrate on the 100%.
thank you so much. So just concentrate on 100% scholarship and get whatever marks you have to and live with it. Why are we bothered? Because that's the university of our dream. So how does it matter what arrangement is with the university and what is the arrangement between the sponsorer? We don't care. So same way, we are not worried about the material world, right? We are not interested to know what credits we are having and what debits we are having, because we are not running this vehicle. We are just running away from this vehicle to spiritual world. So there we are going to connect to Krishna. So why are we really concerned about I want credits? Because even the thought that I want credits makes us do good things, but then wants us to feel that I'm doing credits. Thoda collar I will lift, right? So that feeling is driving you towards ahankar, which means that it will pull the soul down in the form of the subtle, we saw, right? Mano buddhir ahankar. So the ahankar, false ego, will keep you here, which we don't want. That is why we want to run away. So this is a very beautiful thing, Hare Krishna. Karma na karma ye pashyat, akarmani cha karmaya, sabuddhiman manushyeshu, sayukta Krishna karma krit. Hare Krishna, this I'll read. One who sees inaction in action and action in inaction is intelligent among men, and he is transcendental position, although engaged in all sorts of activity. Oh my God, this is so confusing. How is it so conflicting, right? Inaction in action, action in inaction, right? So what is he trying to tell? So let's take our stance, right? So it looks like there is a lot of inaction, right? We are just coming and putting ourselves before the computer, or just going and cooking food, focusing on children, all this we are doing, right? So we are just looking like as if we are not doing any action, though we are doing it, right? There's so much of inaction. Inaction also means, I told you the previous slide, akarma. Where is that slide? Krishna, run to that slide. So we saw, right, inaction. So if you see, inaction is also called akarma, right? So we don't want to have the this. So what are we going to do? So in all the activities, right, which are seeming like not doing any activity for Krishna, not akarmic, it shows as if we are just karmavadis, right, running after what work and all that. But what is there? There is a lot of inaction. That is a lot of akarma linked to it towards Krishna. We are doing a lot of devotional service, right? So whatever you're doing, you're not watching a movie, you're listening to Krishna Kada, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna's direct words, right? So that is the speciality of inaction in action, right? So they appear, that is intelligent. Now action in inaction. So I already gave an example of a karma sannyasi, right? He wants to leave everything, forget everything, and he wants to go for Krishna consciousness. And he just wants to take a big break and do a forest of Himalaya. And how will you see him? Wow, this is so good, right? You will think we are nowhere close. And he is definitely an elevated soul, right? We have Kartika Mataji, Kiran Prabhuji, all of them are thinking, and Manorama Mataji are thinking, they are more elevated than us. That's the feeling we have. But over there, he is coming, and mind is contemplating. He'll be thinking, oh my God, this Bhupali is there. She's probably very pretty, and I've missed the chance of talking to her, right? Or maybe, have I not even tried to connect to Preeti Mataji? Maybe she's like really friendly, right? If his mind is thinking like that, it seems he's in inaction, but he's full of action. And what is that action? It is not even karmic, it's vikarmic, right? So this is what he is telling. So somebody who really sees a difference. Why are we saying? When very important strands, because when we first come to Krishna conscience, and I even used to think that sannyasis are great because they are giving up everything, and I am not giving anything up. For example, even a color, I will wear all colors. I will not even forget the best color. I don't like browns much, but even a brown color dress, I won't give up. Maybe I will give up because Krishna wants or by force, but Krishna does not want. So I will wear, right? But the fact is that So I feel that I am very low, and all of us have that feeling. And sannyasis are very high, but no. Krishna consciousness says there's equal weightage for sannyasi and grahastha. And in fact, Krishna is telling him, is going to explain and give more clarity in 5th chapter. That's why I'm spending time here in the 4th chapter to stress this. So he says sannyasi is there, but it is difficult, because if it is difficult and you don't follow, and I am telling, right, this sannyasi keeps thinking of all of them. He is a mrityachar. We saw that in the 3rd chapter. He's a pretender. So that is what is going to right? So one who understands this and follows Krishna consciousness, irrespective of whether you're a brahmachari or a grahastha or a vanaprastha, or you're a brahmin, kshatriya, vaishya, or a sudra, that person is intelligent. Hare Krishna. And Mataji, yesterday you were asking me this doubt, right? Can't a sudra, right, be a double bagger, or he can't be intelligent? Yes, so he is intelligent. So sudra does not have a qualification that he cannot go to Krishna consciousness. The moment he thinks of Krishna itself, he is not a Sudra anymore. He is walking towards a Vaishnava, and he is a Vaishnava, and he is out of mode of ignorance, right? You asked about passion. So he's straight away going into goodness. Hare Krishna. Yes, sarve samarambha kamakal sankalpa varchitaha jnana mitagta karmanam tamahu panditam buddhaha. Hare Krishna.
One is understood to be in full knowledge, whose every endeavor is devoid of desire for sense gratification. He is said by sages to be a worker for whom the reaction of work have been burned up by the fire of perfect knowledge.
Very clearly reading, Prabhu, loud and clear. Thank you so much, Krishna. So he's saying that somebody who has full knowledge. So what is the purpose? What is the purpose of having and devoid without sense gratification is an intelligent person, right? Why is he called a sage? Because automatically his intelligence, right, is Jnana. He's so intelligent and he's understood, right? He's understood what's karma. He's clear. He's got the platform. Theory is clear. And he's also putting that into practice. He has Jnana and he's got Jnana. He's got implementation of that practice. So what is happening? So with that fire of knowledge which he's got, he is going to burn all the reactions, right? Because he's got the knowledge. So let's take all of you here in this class. You all have the fire of knowledge. So what are you doing? You started chanting. So what are you doing? As you're chanting, you're burning your sense. Though your idea may be different, but automatically cleansing is happening, right? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told, Chaito Darpana Marjanam, right? I'm sitting and cleaning. Paramatma is cleaning and cleansing the heart. So that automatic cleaning is already happening. How? With the fire of knowledge, right? Hare Krishna. Tva karma pala sangam nitya tripto nirashraya karma nebi prabho topi naiva kinchit karoti shaha. Hare Krishna.
Abandoning all attachments to the results of his activities, ever satisfied and independent. He performed no fruitive action, although engaged in all kinds of undertakings.
Yes. So even though you're doing, like typically Prabhu was asking, I'm in marketing, I have to go by target. Yes, fine. The job does not matter, right? You are going to do marketing, that's your job. But if you start thinking that, that 80% conversion rate is my credit, then you are attached to the fruit. If you think, yes, I got 80% credits because that's my duty and Krishna has blessed me, then it becomes a thing, right? So this is what makes a difference, right? So I have a friend of mine and she used to be very timid, right? And I can relate to her because I was one timid soul. And, and deep down, she would not have the guts to pick arguments also, right? So instantly, she has been practicing Krishna consciousness quite recently. And I could see the power she got with Krishna. And she was sharing this incident with me. We did not get into the depth of the context, but there was one argument she was telling that her husband was telling that, he was telling that, it's all my money, my money, and you're eating in my money. And she used to feel offended and she used to do that. And, typically a thought of someone, when you hear like that. And, and she, the first time stood up and she said, this is not your money. This is my Krishna's money. This is Krishna's money, right? And you have got this money off out of his mercy. Right now, what reaction happened, what action happened does not matter, but her realization, do you get there? See, this is what they say, Adi Atmika. You can't change Adi Bhaudika. What's happening around you can't change. But can you see the mind feeling at Adi Atmika level? She is transformed, right? She today, the insult which she used to feel and get burnt inside completely changed. And she said, boss, this is Krishna's. And she has killed that proprietorship because now she knows Isha Vashamidam Sarvam Yat Kincha Jagat Yam Jagat Tena Taktena Bunjita Magritaha Kashyas Viddanam. That Krishna is a proprietor and she feels that everything around is Krishna's property. And since she's a part and parcel of the property, she has the right, the proper right for that. And she no more feels insulted. But the way she could handle it, not only externally, but internally matters, right? She was like so confident. And she said, it is Krishna's, right? It is Krishna's funds and it is Krishna's mercy, right? And he stopped. He just didn't speak, not because of anything, but just that is the power of Krishna. So it's not that you should pick an argument or a fight externally, but internally it's so important that you can't change Adi Bhautika, but you can change the way you feel, right? And that is why there's a beautiful story where Devaki Ma, right? Everybody asked Krishna, you have spent all the time with Kunti Mahadev, right? You've always been with Pandavas and supporting them, and not even with Devaki, right? Even though you were born. So he said, that's because Devaki Ma had my father. Vasudeva was always there, but for Kunti Ma, she didn't have anyone. And for someone who does not have anyone, I will descend personally for them and hold them, So that the words came when she was speaking, because so real, right? It's like Krishna personally descending, and we don't see it, not only as Paramatma in the heart, he's there everywhere with us as Paramatma, even when we are taking the body of the, worm in the stool, he is also sitting there. That's him stool as Paramatma in the heart. But the fact that, you have no one is a thing which, whether it's Mataji or Prabhuji, just get it out of your head, because every one of us have this feeling that, I feel lonely this time. No, that is a thought which you have to leave, because Krishna is there, not just as Paramatma, but he is there. Just like how Kunti Maharani says, as long as you are there, she offered prayers. I want problem after problem. Don't remove me of problem, because if I remove you of the problem, if I'm free of problem, you leave me and go. I need problems, so I want you there. Please don't make such prayers, because Kunti is a very exalted devotee. We won't be able to handle that kind of an issue. But when we have problem and when we feel there is no one around us and we are very vulnerable, Krishna personally ascends to each one of us. That is why he is called Purusha, not just enjoyer, but he takes the responsibility for each one, irrespective of a man or a girl or a child or a teenager or a veteran, right? Hare Krishna. So I am now moving on. Nirashiryata chittatma Dhakta sarva parigraha Shariram kevalam karma Kurvanapnoti kilbisham. Hare Krishna.
Such a man of understanding acts with mind and intelligence perfectly controlled, gives up all sense of proprietorship over his possessions, and acts only for the bare necessities of life. Thus, working, he is not affected by sinful reactions.
So very clearly, right? He gives up all sense of propriety. We just saw. That's why I brought this up, because Isha Vasha principle, right? If someone who really gives up possession and over possessiveness and basics, so Krishna has provided for all the need. But every time people are looking for greed, and that's why we bleed, right? So that is what we should not focus on. That person is not at all affected by sinful reactions, right? Yadrichalabha swantushtavo dvandvetito vimatsaraha samasiddha vasiddhocha kritva pina nibhatyate. Hare Krishna.
He who is satisfied with gain which comes of its own accord, who is free from duality and does not envy, who is steady in both success and failure, is never entangled although performing actions.
So somebody who is happy, right, and free from duality, right? That's what he is telling, right? Matraha spastahastu kaunteya sitoshi sukha dukkadaha agama pahino anityas amsika shashvata bharata, irrespective of heat or cold, sad or thing, tolerate, right? So what is he saying? If you do not have the duality and does not envy, Krishna is using this word envy again, steady in success or failure, right? Whether you have marketing 100%, 80% conversion or an 8% conversion, according to Krishna, he doesn't care because your efforts is 100%, right? So efforts are what he is worried about. Though in material world, rewards are based on your turnover or whatever your output, right? So success or failure, you don't get entangled. You just feel that you're doing your duty. But a Krishna conscious person does 100% great in his duty because he wants to give an example, right? Hare Krishna. Gata sangasya muktasya jnanavastita chetasah yajñaya charayata karma samagram praviliyate.
The work of a man who is unattached to the modes of material nature and who is fully situated in transcendental knowledge merges entirely into transcendence.
So basically in Sutta Sattva, he is not attached to the modes. Traigunya Vishya Vego Nishtraigunyo Bhavachana Nidvando Nitya Satya Se Yoga Kshema Atvavan. Above the three modes, Sutta Sattva, if he goes, what happens? He is said to be situated in transcendental knowledge. And what will be his place? Transcendence, which means he will go to Param, Goloka Vrindavan. So he's just showing what are all the roots, qualifications required to know a person. You need to understand the person. So we saw transcendental knowledge at the beginning, and now we are seeing how we should be to go to that place. Hare Krishna. Brahmarpanam Brahmahavir Brahmagno Brahmanahutam Brahmaiva Tena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina. Hare Krishna.
A person who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness is sure to attain the spiritual kingdom because of his full contribution to spiritual activities, in which the consummation is absolute and that which is offered is of the same spiritual nature.
So very clearly he's telling, right? So if someone does this, what is happening, right? It's absolute. He is going to spiritual kingdom. So we'll be thinking transcendence means, what will happen? Will I go to Brahmajyoti? No, that's why Krishna is clarifying. Spiritual kingdom, right? Goloka Vrindavan. So working on one's own account and working on account. For example, I've been a banker. So you see a lot of cash, you feel very happy. You count the cash and you put it inside. Even if there is a 10 pice missing, we notice cashiers counting on and on and on, right? Why? Because it's not their money. They can't put 10 paise. They can't take out 10 paise. Like that, you can't add or delete because it's God's credit. So you don't worry about the credits. You just give everything to Krishna. Same way, a soldier in the war is awarded a Paramveer Chakra, but in the same soldier kills a neighbor, he's going to be arrested, right? Same way, Arjuna seems to be what he's doing is Dharma, right? Wow, he does not want to do, he's so compassionate. Why? Because we are thinking from a lower intelligence. So there is something called the Paro Dharma, right? Which means the Dharma of the Lord, which is supposed to be important. Let me just, give you an example, right? So there are certain dharmas which are to be followed. Example, a Brahmana is not supposed to lie. And a Brahmana is not supposed to, cow is like a god, right? So there is this cow which comes running and hides in his yard. And there is a butcher who's coming with that, axe to kill it, right? And he comes to the Brahmana and asks the Brahmana that, oh Brahmana, did you see a cow, right? Now there is also one more thing in Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, which says that any animal, even it could be a dog or a cat, and the child, which is in your custody, you have to take care of it. Why? Because you take care of it because that particular cat or a dog becomes dependent on you, right? Dependent on you. And so it's your duty to take care of that cat or a dog. But now this cow has come. Now, whether it's dependent or whether it's come as Ashraya, we're not going to discuss. Now, tell me one thing. What should the Brahmana do? Should he keep his truth because that's his Param Dharma, or should he follow the Paro Dharma of saving the thing? Whatever. Forget the technicalities. What should he do? He has both.
Paro Dharma. He should do Paro Dharma.
So what should he do?
He should lie.
Yeah. So now Mataji, Brahmana should not lie, Mataji. You're telling lie. What is this? You're contradictory to the Vedic principle.
Yeah, depending on situation, you can do that.
So basically, for a higher cause, right? So you are trying to bring it up. So when you have two causes, you do something for a higher cause. So Arjuna is fighting not for himself, which is what he was thinking. My family, no. His dharma as a Kshatriya is to protect. And if he walks off, he is not going to save people. He is going to leave the world for millions of years under a person like Duryodhana, right? Who is a person who you can imagine what could be the state of the people. So is he doing his dharma? So being ethical is different from moral, and that is very different from spiritual. All three are very different. So if you have a daughter who's an atheist, and I'm just giving an example, not necessarily a daughter, let's take a friend or who's an atheist, you can just make prasad and give. You don't have to force a person. Now you are ethically wrong because you're giving prasad to a friend and who is an atheist, right? And she trusts you and you have given a prasad and she may not be interested to. Are you honest by telling her that this is prasad? No. So you are ethically wrong, but spiritually you're right, right? So spirituality, remember one thing, spiritually and ethically are very thin lines. There can be something which may be spiritually also wrong and ethically also wrong, right? For example, I am a robber and I'm going to build a temple. Is that right? Ethically it's wrong and spiritually also it's wrong because it's somebody else's property, right? You can't do that. So please remember, this is a very thin line where you are stuck in two options. That is when you have to do. But don't take every occasion and situation that, okay, like the military guy, saving the nation is my wrong. The neighbor is a bad fellow, I kill him. No, it's wrong, right? Likewise, you can't, just in the name of spirituality, you can't lie. But then for the sake of spirituality, it is okay to compromise on certain values if it's a choice, right? So that is what, so Arjuna is supposed to focus on Krishna. He has to fight for Krishna because Krishna wants the dharma there. He has come for that. And Arjuna has to fight because he's a Kshatriya. So that purifies him and takes him to Krishna conscience. Coming to the section 4, sacrifices lead to transcendental knowledge and how it leads and how does it liberate. We are going to see. This is I want you all to read the puppet because it's a lot of text. So I will just talking about the various sacrifices which are given to lead to transcendental knowledge, right? They are all explained between 2.5 to 2.9. So primarily 2.5, they're talking about demigod worship, sacrifices to Brahman. Some people sacrifice the hearing process, which means what? These brahmacharya, the first 25 years, they hear only Krishna kathas. They will focus only in Krishna songs, only that. So they sacrifice everything and get the mind under control, right? And all the sacrifices for devatas, demigods, are also Yagna Purusha is Krishna. So ultimately it goes to him. But it's better you do directly because the fire, the Yagna Kunda is the mouth of Vishnu and the Yagna is the tongue of Vishnu. So what you put directly goes to Vishnu. But if you do it directly for Vishnu, then it has greater satisfaction. If you do via gods, if you do via demigods, it takes more time for purification. Senses in fire, so that means of senses, so they regulate. So basically, if you have a desire for sex, they say, get into a marriage, do a legal sex, so that becomes regulated grahasthas, right? And you do not have an illicit relationship as a brahmachari. You call yourself brahmachari at the age of 40, and you don't go around with 4 women. Rather, you get married at the age of 25 or 26 and lead a grahastha life and give Krishna conscious children. Ashtanga yogis pray on the Paramatma. We have a lot of yogic practices, 4.27 Patanjali yoga practices, and how they do is pranayama, right? Your incoming air and outgoing, they switch these two airs, right? That is the concept they follow in the pranayama. And their idea is to merge with the thing. Charity, okay, now this is dharma, this is charity. Right? So 4.28 says, it's called Dravyamaya Yagna. So Dravyamaya Yagna means activities which you do by giving away your possession, right? Example, your clothes, your money, all this for charitable, pious causes. So they do that. And many people tell, I have to do dharma, I do a lot of dharma, I do charity. No. Dharma is what you have to do. Charity is what you're doing because it's the right thing to do. Next is austerity, is tapas, right? So you have a lot of austerities. Example, Chaturmasya. We all are doing Ekadasi, that will all come with austerity, right? So Chaturmaya means in a year, 4 months, during the rainy season, the sannyasis don't travel, they don't even shave, and they focus more on Krishna consciousness. They eat one time. There are still people who follow and they have beard. Now the beard has become fashion. So men grow beard, but those days it was not a fashion. It was more of the, what do you call it? Tapas or an austerity. Yoga yagna, right? Sacrifice of certain perfection. In the material world, you give up something. There are people, they even say in Kasi, they go and give up the most favorite thing. And many people go to Kasi and give up the things which they don't like, right? So I remember, I think again, when I was little, my granny went to Kasi and she told she will never take raw banana. And after she came, we realized she never used to like raw banana. And my brother made fun. Amama, you have to sacrifice something which you like the most and you've given up something which you don't like. She started thinking, maybe it's right. Maybe it's true. So that is yoga yagna. And I had one of my relatives who lost his son and he never used to eat the favorite food of the son. That is sacrifice, right? But of course, that's for a person. But for Krishna, you do that. But I'm not telling you should do because it's not specifically given in Vedas. But I'm just saying, right? You give your worldly possessions, and that also you do because you want some other worldly possession. So that's also a barter system. But many of them tend to do that worldly possession to merge with the with the Brahmajyoti, right? They don't want the name, they don't want fame, they don't want the body itself because they feel that the body is pain and they relate that to pain. Or Ashtanga Yoga, we're going to see in length in 6th chapter. We go to holy places, pilgrimage and all. And study of scriptures is called Swadhyaya Yagna. So all of us, y'all are doing that yagna. Upanishad, Vedanta Suttas, Sankhya philosophies, all this which you read, right, is also a yagna. That is why we tell at least 30 minutes a day you have to read Bhagavad Gita and 30 minutes. Hatha Yoga and Pranayama, which I already briefed, right? So this talks about demigod worship where you sacrifice your material possession with an intention to get something, right? It's called Bahu Aishwaryavadi. That means I am swapping something because I want something, right? And impersonalists, they want to merge with the Brahma Jyoti. They give their own body also because they don't want to relate to the thing, and they're more into speculation. They keep speculating and they have this concept of neti. I will explain a particular thing and you have to tell me what it is, right? So that's a concept of impersonalist. It has 2 eyes. No, it does not have, it does not have hair. It does not have, it does not have body hair also. It does not just have 2 legs. It does not eat with the hand, and it does not wear expensive dresses like this. Can anyone type in the chat what this is? I give you so many options. Nobody is answering me. It's very confusing, right? So you have a whole list. So that's called Neti principle. And that's what impersonalists follow. They don't shortlist this. They actually go on a long list. Neti, soul. Ha, Rupa, thank you so much, but it's not soul. I was thinking of a cow. I told it does not eat with the hand, right? It does not just have 2 legs. It has 4 legs, right? So it does not have hair like us, right? So you were talking about soul. That's so nice, but see, you're so elevated, but I was talking about a cow. So this is what is confusion in impersonalists because they believe in neti, whereas a devotee would directly tell, hey, soul, or hey, cow, right? So that's the difference. And a Krishna's conscious devotee technically doesn't sacrifice, but he only thinks of satisfaction of Krishna. According to us, sacrifice means giving up. But actually sacrifice in Krishna, in the dictionary, means doing something for the pleasure of Krishna, anything for pleasure of Krishna. And anything you do for Krishna is going to be happy, whether it's a little bit of water you keep or whether you're going to do yagna, what is a yagna we have to do in Kali Yuga?
Chanting the Harima mantra.
Yes, Hare Krishna. Yeah, that's so nice. Yes, what is Maha Mantra? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. That is what. So why we do this? Because Krishna will be happy, right? Arjuna sacrifices everything for the satisfaction of Krishna, right? First class yogi, right? Without losing his existence. 4th chapter we saw, right? You are also there, Arjuna. I am also there for Janma. We have been there. We are there. We are going to be there, is what he says. So Arjuna has been there. I told you all already, right? This time he came. And what did he come in the previous birth as? Previous time along with Arjuna, what did he come as?
Nara Narayana.
Thank you so much. And the next birth along with Chaitanya Prabhu, what does he come as? You're going to check that for me next class. So he comes back again along with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as what? You all asked me doubt on Chaitanya, so I'm going to leave. If you don't remember, I will remind you next class. But search and try, right? So now material loop, happiness without sacrifice, tapa, Lord. These are the two words which Brahma found when he first came here, when everything was dark. That's where tapas came. All sacrifice must be performed with the knowledge of their purpose, right? You don't sacrifice, you need to know. So the idea is to get out of sinful life. Why you want to be removed? Because you want to go to Krishna. And 4.3 on to you, Prabhu. Krishna. Yes, you can read.
All these performers who know the meaning of sacrifice become cleansed of sinful reactions, and having tasted the nectar of the results of sacrifice, they advance towards the supreme eternal atmosphere.
So all the performers who know the meaning of sacrifice, right? Whoever know, they are going to be clean. Cheto Dharma, they'll remove. I always used to feel, and I just want to know if any of you all used to feel the same. I used to feel, I have done some sins. If I tell do japa, I will be cleared of sinful reactions. Okay, but is it fair? I've done so much sins. Maybe I don't need big punishment. Little bit I should be punished. Little bit at least, then only I will have satisfaction. Has anyone felt like this? No one? If anyone has felt, sorry, Hare Krishna?
No, actually.
No, okay, I'm so happy you're already elevated. So I used to have this mind. And later, after many days only, I realized that if you are having that little punishment concept and going here and there, what is happening? It means that I won't get liberated. I will be stuck in the material world along with Shyam Prabhu, right? Which I don't want to. I want to go there to Goloka with you all. So this is the difference, right? So why are the devotees telling, please remove all my sins? It's not because they want to become sin-free. It's because they want to go to Krishna's abode. And that is also a great prayer. It's not that they want to be sin-free to enjoy. They want to go back to Krishna because that's their conscience, that's the karma, right? They want to go back there. So that is what they are talking about, right? And so they tell they keep telling that, please remove all my sins so that when I come to you, I should, completely be removed. And that's what even Isho they say. Now, 4.31 is a very cute two-liner. Nayam lokosta avyagnasya kuto anya kuru sattatma. Hare Krishna.
O best of Kuru dynasty, with sacrifice, one can never live happily on this planet or in his life, in this life. What then of the next? The question.
He's telling that boss sacrifice is required even for getting rains, right? You need to do yagnas, and if you don't get, and you're struggling. So forget about next birth. You can't be happy in this birth only, Arjuna. So why are you worried about next birth? Is what he is explaining. So sacrifice is absolutely required in every single birth. 4.32.
All these different types of sacrifice are approved by the Vedas, and all of them are born of different types of work. Knowing them as such, you will become liberated.
He's saying that all these different types of sacrifices, whatever we are talking, is approved by Veda. Vedas have approved these sacrifices, and all of them are born out of different types of work. We saw, right? Varnas, different works, and all these sacrifices are pertaining to them. And once you know this, right? Why is it born out of Vedas? Because the Vedas are not man-written. It is written by God, right? So what does it mean? It means that it's a superhuman there, right? And all the 4 Vedas. What are the 4 Vedas? Which we have studied, I think, in 5th standard, 4th standard.
Rigveda,
Samaveda, Yajurveda,
and
other.
Who wrote those Vedas? Who wrote those Vedas?
Yes, Rusi.
Brahma.
No. Vedas are correct, Abhishek. Thank you so much, Abhishek. Hare Krishna. Vedavyasa. Vedavyasa wrote the Vedas. And who's Vyada? Sorry, Vedavyasa. Vyasadev is none but Krishna's incarnation. That's why it's called Apurishaya, which means superhuman. That's why someone asked, Prabhupada, you know, Vedas are also written by human, yes, but not like a human like you. It's a superhuman. Right? And many people tell that. It's all man written, right? So that's the weird thing. So move on to 4.33, Hare Krishna.
O chaster of the enemy, the sacrifice performed in knowledge is better than the mere sacrifice of material possessions. After all, O son of Pritha, all sacrifice of work culminate in transcendental knowledge.
So beautiful, right? So he says, look at the way in which Krishna is calling Arjuna. Oh, chastiser of enemy. He's just telling that. He says the sacrifice performed in knowledge, right? Of all the things, there's so many sacrifices, but something which is performed in knowledge, right? Especially when you give tyaga of knowledge, when you teach people, your knowledge doesn't come down. That sacrifice is better than material possession. So it's better that I teach you a Bhagavad Gita or you teach someone, right? Something is much better than you giving them money or food. You know, it's supposed to be higher. This is very important for us to understand. Why? When you give food, you will give for one time. You should not stop, you should give. But it is annadan, you will fill his stomach. But if you're giving Jnana, Shastra Dan, you're giving for lifetime. So that is very important. After all, but all sacrifice are of work culminating to transcendental, because everything we are going to do for Krishna, right? Ultimate knowledge. Penal one. This won't take us long. 4.34 to 42. We're talking about how to achieve transcendental knowledge. How do we achieve? That's a final thing, right? The fruit of transcendental knowledge. What is the fruit? What is the benefit? Who can successfully achieve qualification? The symptom of one who has successfully applied, right? Jnana we all have. Jnana, who's applied? Transcendental knowledge to work. How can we do? Prabhu was just asking, how do I implement? So conclusion, right? So he's bringing all this in mind. And if someone knows who is this Muni, or someone can tell me who are these two kids. Chat is open, you can type. While I'm going to start this.
Krishna and Balram.
Very
Krishna
nice.
and Balram.
Krishna and Balram, that's a pot on. Krishna, he told, I don't have to do the duty, but I'm doing one more exam. Not go to school, but he's gone to Gurukul and who is his guru? Chat is open, somebody on the chat. Anitu, perfect. Sandipani Muni, right? Krishna and Balram, Sandipani Muni. Sandipani Muni, which is what will Arjuna will tell. Your guru is not there, right? You're not fighting with your guru. I am fighting with my guru. And you want me to kill my guru. Oh my God, even scolding my guru, scolding elders is considered bad. And you're telling me to kill them. Oh my Krishna, he will tell at the beginning. Hare Krishna, tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadakshena te jnanam jnanitas tattva darshinaha.
Just try to learn the truth of approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth.
Very, very important shloka. Please memorize. So he's telling what is the route? How do I reach Krishna? Right? Shortcut. He's telling Tadvidhi pranipatena, right? Vidhi, right? Learn the truth by approaching spiritual master is one liner. So he says paniprashtena sevaya, right? Do service to him, right? Really down to it, submissively do service. Sevaya means service. Upadakshena te jnanam, that knowledge, right? The self-realized person will impart knowledge of what? Tattva darshina, the supreme truth, right? Darshanam. He will give you a chakshashu, knowledge to see God. So that is very important. So what is very important? Humble, right? Humbly inquire and submissive. Asking question is not wrong. Even Prabhupada does not say you should blindly follow what I'm saying. Blindly follow Guru. No, don't blindly follow. Clarify, but have faith and clarify. And if you have a bad experience of Guru, which we've all heard, right? I think when I was small, I heard my very distant relative, my aunt's uncle, this is all I remember, went to a Guru and he gave off his car, his property, and they were so rich and they came on roads and they never had food. Okay, and oh my God, what kind of a mentality? So that is a wrong example. All of us, when we have started walking, we fall down. Did we stop walking? Is there anyone among y'all who can tell me that I have never fallen down in my life when I walked? Any one person?
No.
No, right?
Yes.
Even though we fall. So do we stop walking?
No.
No, right? So same way, if we have a bad experience, which we've heard or felt about a guru, we should learn to make sure that we don't make the mistake again, not tell that, okay, I don't want a guru, right? So that is what is very important, which I wanted to tell. Rewards of transcendental knowledge obtained from spiritual master, so 35 to 38, will obtain knowledge and realization that all living entities are part of Brahman, right? So spiritual master will give this feeling. With such a vision, one will never fall into illusion, right? Yastu sarvani bhutani atmanevānupashyati sarva bhuteshu chatmanam tadona vijugupshate. In Isha Upanishad. So very clearly, what does it say? It says that sarva bhuteshu chat, everything is part and parcel of Krishna. That we all know, but he will put it in our head, right? So that we will not get back into illusion. And this ocean, right? We are struggling in this ocean. So Krishna is lending his hand and you are stretching, right? You need that rope, and that rope is none but your spiritual master. And even in Isha Upanishad, he says that he acts as a boatman. He's going to like literally drive you, right? He is going to be the facilitator to cross that by knowledge of self and super soul, right? About your soul, super soul, and the relationship between both. Remember, entire Bhagavad Gita, the self can be used for yourself or Krishna. So you have to go by the context. Here it's yourself. And the relationship, one burns all self. The moment we understand the relationship, it burns, right? Your true nature is revealed. Self-realization as a mature fruit, right? He understands that. It's like a fruit. Why do they say mature fruit? The mango, which is fully ripe, is so sweet, right? And finally gets devotional service. Getting devotional service is a blessing. Why? Because Krishna gives everything, even moksha. He does not give bhakti. Why? Because he gets sold. Look at his logic. He is a driver, right? He's a charioteer. He does everything for his bhaktas, which is a story which I'm going to tell at the end, right? About Bhishma. So this happened. So therefore, Krishna is that who can achieve this transcendental knowledge. And finally, one who has faith can acquire transcendental knowledge. That is, he has to have faith. So it's very important. Shraddha. Why do we say Shraddha? Even in our life, right, we need to have faith, right? So now I am telling the shloka and I wait, that Shyam Prabhuji is going to answer. And if he is not replying, I'll be thinking either he's muted or he's not heard. I am not going to think, what happened to Shyam? Is he watching a movie parallelly or is he just slept off? No, we have faith, right? So that is important even in a normal relationship. So if two people who hardly knows each other over 8 sessions to 8th session, right, needs faith, right? And same way, if I'm coughing, there was one Mataji who told me, right, please drink water, please take care of your health. Okay, I asked you all, do you want to change your teacher? Because I'm doing, but you all had faith, no, that I'll be fine, I'll be here. And that is answered, right? I still cough, that's different, but at least you can hear through the session. So faith is required. And in human beings, we always say, right, we have to have 100% faith. But Krishna is telling, have little faith, little bit at least, right? So, and be free of doubts, don't have doubts, which is why at neophyte stage, we do not interact with impersonalists or others, because we try to convince an atheist there's a possibility we are convinced against our own belief. So no sinful, oh Bharata, stand and fight, because of which no sinful reaction will affect anyone who does his duty, right? With transcendental knowledge, you have a knowledge. So even if you fight in the war, you are not going to incur the sin. Slash the knowledge, right? That is, slash with knowledge. Now you have so many doubts, right? I'm giving you the jnana, transcendental knowledge. Now kill those doubts, right? And that's why he says, Madhusudana, Keshava, why does he say? Because I am so ignorant and confused. How you killed the demons, kill my ignorance, is what Arjuna is referring. So he's telling, slash with knowledge all the doubts which are born out of ignorance. Because you were ignorant, right? And finally he's saying, Tasmat Ajnana Sambhutam. Hare Krishna. Tam Jnanasi Natmanaha Chitvainam Samsaya Yogam Atishto Tishtha Bharata. Hare Krishna.
Therefore, the doubts which have arisen in your heart out of ignorance should be slashed by the weapon of knowledge, armed with yoga. O Bharata, stand and fight.
So beautiful, right? So finally, Krishna has told everything, convinced, he told, okay, now I've given you knowledge, please kill that ignorance. Now your diet should be out, heart should be out of ignorance. Enough of knowledge I've given, please come on, get up and fight. directly communicating enough. So ideally Bhagavad Gita should end, but no, chapter 5 comes. And wait till next week for chapter 5 and please start reading the book so that it will help. And I hope you are answering the quizzes. You've started, right? So with this, you can be open for doubts and the session comes to an end. So very quickly, Hare Krishna, just 1 second. Let's do a quick summary of the chapter and then you can raise your doubts, type your doubts. So what did section 1 talk about? He gave a lot of transcendental knowledge, which is Evam Parampara Praptam. And section 2, Krishna as the goal of all paths and creator of Varnashrama. Ye yatha mam prapadyante, right? So very basically, he created Varnashram not for caste system, but based on guna and karma. Karma yoga, right? Karmano hepi bodhavyam, right? He talks about karma yoga and Naish karma is a focus. And this time karma is spoken with context of jnana. Sacrifice lead to transcendental knowledge. Jnana yagna parantapa, of all the knowledge, sacrifice of knowledge, jnana, giving jnana is the best and stick to that. Finally, he says, Tattiti pranipatena. That means, yes, adopt a spiritual master, right? Serve him humbly and, and learn from him. He will show you the supreme truth. So Krishna has told that you have to have a spiritual master and he is going to take you to the path, through the true path. And finally, he says that, now, slash with knowledge, I've given enough knowledge. Get up and fight Krishna, right? And so beautiful. So that's what he says. Vancha kalpada rupyascha grita sindhubhya evacha patitana pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. All of you. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare
Yeah, now we will go to doubts. Today we have time, so we will go to Prabhupada's video also. Mohan Prabhu will be able to play the video. I will take a second. Both of you I have sent. Whoever can play the video can start. And what are the doubts? Attendance there, please mark. I know any problem in the quiz, you type so we can check the end. And is there any doubts? Somebody is raising the hand. Yes, Shyam Prabhu, please go ahead and ask your doubts.
Krishna Mataji. Today, your position is very nice to see background. Bhagavad Gita is there, and
thank you so much, Prabhu.
And I think you have changed the system or something. Your voice is very, very clear, and I am very happy to have the communication. Come to the doubt. In this chapter, what I am telling you, whether it is correct or not, just you clarify, Mataji. In this chapter, Krishna told everything about him. He said very clearly, I am the supreme. I am the only one God which you should come to me to get a proper knowledge. That means he is clearly said the God is one. Mataji?
Yes, I'm listening. You're right, Prabhu. God is one.
God is one. Okay. And about the semi-gods, he told, you can go it, but it takes a lot of time for purification, and coming to me is a indirect path. Am I correct?
Yes.
Mataji, can I mute all except me? There is a lot of.
Yes, Prabhu, I have muted all. Yeah, you can unmute and ask. You have to unmute, Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji. And more about he talked in this chapter is about the knowledge, that is the Jnana.
Yes.
And in this Jnana means what? That Jnana, knowledge about what? Knowledge about the self, knowledge about the Krishna, knowledge about the semi-gods, or knowledge about the Vedas, or what actually the knowledge about I should have to liberate or to reach the Krishna. What is that knowledge?
So basically what he is telling is, I'm not the body, I'm the soul. First knowledge.
Yes.
Right? So that we are still in the first 6 chapters. So we are not completely understood what full knowledge is, which he will give over 18 chapters.
Yes.
The thing which we have to understand is I'm not the body, I'm the soul, which is fine. But Prabhu, tell me one thing. If I'm just calling your name and telling, Prabhu, I am very angry with you. You are not coming in time. And this is absolutely ridiculous. Or if someone in your office, right, let's say your boss tells you, you have done 80%, just 80%. You know what? I have another district, he's done 90%. How will you feel?
Very bad.
Why, Prabhu? You're just the body. You're not the body. You're the soul. For the body. So why? So you got the jnana in 2nd chapter. We are in 4th chapter. You should not feel bad. You should tell, okay, she's scolding the body. Boss is scolding the body. I am the soul. What I'm telling you is, we have the knowledge. We are getting the knowledge. Able to apply practically? No. We don't have the vijnana, right? You feel very offended, which is natural, right? To get to vijnanam, it takes a very long time. For some people, it's quick. Like I was sharing experience with a friend, right? She has been traumatized for so many years, right? And inside her heart, she used to feel hurt. She used to be very vulnerable. Has anything changed? Has Krishna come and sat in her house and held her hand in the real sense of what we think? No. But her Adi Atmika has changed, right? She is in the path of realization. I won't say she's realized, but at least she is able to stand up, forget what answer she gave someone else, but to herself, she feels, boss, this is Krishna's property. She knows, when she used to feel complex, right? She used to feel, oh my God, am I having free lunch? I'm useless. Am I a waste person? That is the same feeling you will have when your boss calls. Situation is different. When your boss tells you useless, you'll be thinking, you're not useless, but then he tells, I have done so much, I've like slogged. I have not even bothered to take care of my wife. I have not thought of my children. I am slogging for this person and this guy is so rude to me. Yes or no? You don't think I'm getting a salary. I'm just working. How do I care? I don't bother. We don't think that because we.
Yes.
That is what Krishna is trying to bring in. I'm not the body, I'm the soul is a theory which is in your head. But if you connect to the spiritual master, he will ensure that it becomes your jnana. And you'll be able to go to Krishna because all this feeling of emotion, pain, dualities, right? And when I'm telling you are amazing, you feel happy, is toe topper from going to Krishna consciousness. It's stopping your path. He wants to get that out of your head. So that is what he's trying to explain here.
Yes.
Yeah, I hope I've answered.
Yes, yes, Mataji. And very small questions, if others don't feel, okay. Mataji, now I heard the word Purusha. Purusha is the gender, or it is a different meaning is there, Purusha?
I will explain, Prabhu. Just 1 second. If someone, Mataji wanted this slide, right? So can you see this slide? Maybe I can keep talking to Prabhu and you can keep observing this slide. Wanted this karma slide. So I just thought I will take this slide and yeah, yes, Prabhu. So Purusha means enjoyer in any language. I mean in Sanskrit. So according to us, what does Purusha means? We talk about husband and he's the enjoyer. But actually in reality, Purusha, the only Purusha, which we will see in the 14th chapter, is only Krishna. All of us are not Purushas, including the men. So Krishna is the only enjoyer. So in that context, Krishna, there is no gender, Prabhu. The soul does not have a gender in the sense that, you're a male, no. Right? So that is why if you see the gopis are the rishis during Rama time, right? During the Treta Yuga, Ramayana came, that time, these are the rishis, right? Who were wanting to be with Rama and therefore they become the gopis. So the changes. Likewise, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wants to have the bhava of Radharani. So he incarnates, right? So it is not that he incarnates as a girl, he incarnates as a guy. So gender does not matter at all for spirituality. And coming to that point, Purusha means the only enjoyer is Krishna because he is the whole. We are all his part and parcel. So, like I am just going to take an ice cream and lick. So licking is happening in my tongue, right? So can I say my tongue is the enjoyer or I am the enjoyer?
I am the enjoyer.
Yeah. But the taste is tongue, right? So if the tongue is the enjoyer and tongue gets angry and cuts itself and goes separately and licks the ice cream, it's not even going to feel, which means the joy of enjoyment is felt by the tongue as long as it is with my body. Likewise, our joy, enjoyment happens as long as we understand we are parts of Krishna and stay with him. So that is what it is. I'm trying to answer. Thank you.
And another word confusing is we use the Brahman and Brahman. Is there any difference between these two words? Or the Brahman means the caste, or Brahman means the supreme? What is that difference?
In fact, Brahman has multiple meanings, but I don't know which context you're talking. But broadly, Brahmin is different. Brahmin is a caste community, Varna.
Yes.
Brahman, you're talking about the Brahman effulgence that is coming. The energy form of Krishna is called Brahman. Right? So Brahman is a community, like Brahmin Kshatriya. Brahman they are talking. And Brahma also means our Brahma, our Chatur-faced Brahma, Lord Brahma. And God is only one. If we have any Christians or Muslims here, they can enlighten. That is why Jesus is the son of God. And even Muslims say Prophet Muhammad, right? So they don't say. So everyone talks about one God. We are also talking about the same God everywhere. And God is not exclusive to India. It's anywhere in the world. It's the same thing.
That is true, Mataji. Those who have gone into the core of every religion says God is one. But the people who has not gone through to the nectar of the core of the religion, the superficial people say all these things. The God, this God, like that. That is where we are distorted, and this is
ignorance, Prabhu. Ignorance, knowledge. Now you understand at this age that if someone gives you a chocolate and a 500 rupee note, even though chocolate is there, will you take chocolate or 500 rupee note?
Chocolate.
You will take chocolate only, Prabhu.
Not now. As we are progressing, I will try to take the 500 note.
So what happened, Prabhu? The same time when you did like few years back or many years back when you were a child, you took a chocolate because your ignorance has changed, right? You understand money has more value. So you told immediate result. So it's not immediate results. It's the understanding of the result. Sorry, just 1 second. I'll just keep the laptop charged on. So why am I telling that, that is different? Because if I do not do that immediately, if I need immediate result anytime, I'm not looking for immediate result. Why am I not looking for immediate result? Because if I look for immediate result, I know if I wait a little more, I'll get a better result. So that jnana I've got, right?
Yes.
If you tell a child, the child will not get. It will have only knowledge, but it will not have jnana. If I tell the child, no, please take care of take 500 rupee note. Maybe it will follow because mama has told, but it will still not get the vijnanam. It does not have jnana, whichever you teach, right? That is what makes it. I hope I've clarified.
Yes, Mataji. Others can.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
I will.
Yeah, I should tell two things. Kiran Prabhuji, no, Kannayappa Nayan, and still time you can check. And Manjari Balaji Mataji, amazing mind and memory only. And I've showed you your karma vikarma. I hope you saw. And yes, my experience is, I used to hate caste system. I'll tell you why. So when we were all studying, so we used to be a set of friends, and we had with us a scheduled caste, one girl, and she used to keep telling us every time we used to study, she used to come and tell, okay, you're studying. She used to be an average student. How much you'll get? Okay, and one of us friends used to tell she'll get 90% at least there, But what's the point? You get 90% also, you may get a very average college. For me, I get 60%. I have this besides quota system, they also have a rule that they have to fill so many seats for scheduled caste. So she was telling, for me, they used to call and invite me, will give me a seat. Irrespective of whatever I get, for me, seat is there. So even if I get 60%, so for us, we used to be aiming at like 95, 96, and she's talking about percent, I have a seat. So we used to feel so discriminated, so partial. Why can't I be? So I still remember, I was in school, I used to go to my dad and tell, Dad, make me a scheduled caste or scheduled tribe, without knowing what, right? And we don't understand. This is why Vedas are important, because at that age, if we are taught, then we are blessed. It's not about being a scheduled caste or a scheduled tribe or a caste, but we've been blessed with the fact that we reasonably transcendental family, healthy and a wealthy family, right? And these are gifts of Krishna, right? Which we didn't even understand the value, and for what even we got, we didn't appreciate. I am not born. So this is what came to my mind, and I digressed the topic, and I said, if you remember, I'll tell you. Or have you also felt humiliated in your life? And to answer that, finally, in my 12th, I got 98.5% aggregate. But another friend of mine who got 90% didn't get the seat because of the caste system. And this girl who got she got 70%, and she was called in every college, every. So what struck me, right? So I wanted to tell, does any of you all have a similar experience? Or
yes. We're all the victims of the caste system.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Of the man-made caste system, Prabhu.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's the thing. So Hare Krishna. So is there anything else?
Mataji, a small Mataji.
Yes.
Regarding this quiz, at the beginning of this classes, we have filled that quizzes, but the quizzes are not appearing now in my account. But yesterday, Prabhuji sent some more message for filling the quizzes. Is it the same, or now we have to go to some different? There is confused here.
Only Prabhu, you have to go to the same. You go to the website. Right over there, you have level 2 quiz, and please start answering that. If you still have a problem, write to us. We are thinking we will open the chat box. I think we are already, but we will keep the chat box daily open for about an hour. So if you have any doubts, you can write back immediately.
No, Mataji, that is there. It is now Vriksha, that Jnana Vriksha, something new word is used, and earlier it is understanding the Gita.
Okay, terminology.
No,
yes, Prabhu,
yes.
that is, we keep upgrading the site, right? We don't go by. Know that the content is the same, so it's the same questions. We have not changed.
Okay.
Yeah, no, Prabhuji, if you go down, if you scroll down, you can see like a level 2 quiz. It's there in the same website.
Mataji, kindly repeat it.
No, like when you log into the registration, if you scroll down, you can see level 2 English course is there, because I've been taking quizzes and it's there. Level 2 quiz.
Okay, I will try. I also tried and I could not find it. Anyway, I will try once again. Thank you, Mataji.
Just one second, wait. Let me just screen share so that you will understand.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm going back to this.
Kṛṣṇa.
Yeah, I know. I've kept so many PowerPoints open, and I just opened the quiz sheet. Can you see this ISKCON Mangaluru site? I've just done www.iscon.mangaluru.com, isconmangaluru.com. Okay. So you have this one. Can you see under register? You have Understanding Gita level 2.
Oh, this is not appearing in my this thing.
It will appear, Prabhu. If you're trying from your mobile, also it's appearing. And I just tried, and from the system, I'm just showing. So here you have, right? You would have filled everything. And if I enter through the registration, I will get the quiz link and you can answer.
Mataji, could you please open that quiz page? That this is the application form.
Prabhu, yeah, 1 second, Prabhu. Can I? Sorry, Prabhu. Prabhu, can you give me 5 minutes? Because what I will do is, if you can just wait, we'll explain it at the end. There are few more questions. I'll answer that, so that, you know, our admins will explain this in detail to you by the end of the class. Is that okay? Because I can,
yes.
Want to leave can leave. If you can just wait for a few minutes. Is that
yes,
fine?
Yes, Mataji.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. And devotees, okay, you all were asking me about Bhishma story. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, before that, I have a question.
Yes, please go ahead.
Mataji, actually, you showed us that you should have faith. Means in that part, I wanted to have a clarification that faith means I should always have Krishna in my mind, or in all jobs I should have Krishna as one of the part. The faith one.
Prabhu, faith is different from having Krishna in center. So what happens is, when you have faith and when you increase your Shraddha, automatically Krishna will come to the center. So it doesn't mean that you have not thought of Krishna so long means you never had faith. You had faith, right? But the fact is, you are trying to connect to him. So there are two different things, but it gets into the same line. It will converge at one point, right? Having faith is one, and thinking of him is other, right? So when you start increasing your faith, that's why initially we tell sadhana bhakti, which means that you will do it as a matter of duty. You may tell, I have complete faith in Krishna, so why should I get up in the morning and listen to Mangalarti? Because if you are going to do it as a matter of duty and listen to Mangalarti and all of that as a matter of faith, automatically your love increases and Krishna will become the center point. Ultimately, the purpose is to go to Goloka Vrindavan, and how Krishna has told, right? Antakale, right? Towards the end, and it will come in the coming chapters. When you think, in the 8th chapter, he'll clearly tell that at the time of death, when you think of me, And at the time of death, what happens? So many things in your life will flash. Your childhood, your friends, your relatives, your unfinished job. Krishna will not come, right? So it is like examination, right? You don't study and tomorrow you go take your exam, 5 minutes, you open the book. It's not going to work like that, right? That way, the entire life is an examination. So why do we think of Krishna entire life is because we want to pass the examination of death in Goloka Vrindavan. That is point one. But Shraddha is to develop that, right? We need to do sadhana. To do sadhana, we need to have faith, right? Otherwise, we will not do sadhana. Like I will be thinking somewhere, okay, Krishna, Krishna, and I don't have that belief, right? Then I am only talking. I have to have, that is why do we talk about a spiritual master in one line, is because he's someone with a higher faith. And when you involve yourself with someone with a higher faith, your faith also increases. That's the logic. Hare Krishna. Did I answer?
Right. Yeah, right, man. Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. So I'm going to start the Bhishma story now. Okay, 2 minutes. Hare Krishna. So we are talking about Bhishma, right? So before we talk about Bhishma, I'm not getting too much about Bhishma's life story. Okay, let me start with Bhishma's life story itself, then it can get more interesting, right? So Bhishma Dev initially was one of the 7, demigods. And before he came here, and what happened is he, along with his few brothers, 7 brothers to be precise, wanted to steal the Kamadhenu cow. And they steal. So now you're going to come back and tell me who was owning the Kamadhenu, with which Rishi he was having Kamadhenu cow. Your chat is open, you're going to type it. So what happens is they get cursed that all of them will go to the earth and suffer. The earth is a jail, okay? So you make a mistake, you're out to the jail. Indra make a mistake, you're on the jail, right? So just remember that. So they come here to the Bhuloka and go to the jail, and they go through a lot of trauma, right? All of them. But what happened is all of them will get immediately liberated because they were not directly involved in stealing. They were only party to the brother. So they did this. So this is one story. Parallelly over there, Ganges was there, and Ganges was fought, and Shantanu were in love over there, right? So they come to the Bhulok, and Shantanu happens to be the Pandava's grandfather, right? And so what happens is he comes across Ganges and he proposes her, and she says, I will continue to live with you as long as you don't question my acts. So she throws the 7 children into the sea, into the ocean. The reason is because the 7 children needs to have mukti. Obviously, she doesn't disclose to him. And then 8th child, when she wants to throw, he stops. He says, I can't tolerate this anymore. I have promised that I won't, and you have promised that the moment I question you, you leave. But the fact is, I can't tolerate my life being thrown in the sea. So she says the story and she tells everything, and she says that I will take Bhishma with me and I will teach him all arts and hand over to you as a very perfect son. So she goes ahead and has him trained everything, and our not Balram, what is it? Parasuram trained Bhishma. That's why he's so powerful. After all the training, she hands over at a particular age and she vanishes permanently. Now, why is Bhishma there is because of this curse. That's why he comes to the earth. Otherwise, he's he's one of the Vasus, right? Demigods. So this is what is the actual thing. So he is already a devotee. So that's a background which I wanted to tell. So now I'm straight moving from this portion to not his life story, which I will cover sometime, but the most important life story is what happened is when Bhishma was very soft-hearted to the Pandavas, the 100 Kurus, right? Duryodhana, as usual, insults him. He says that you're partial, you're fit for nothing, all abusive language. And he's also a Kshatriya, so his blood boils. And he says that tomorrow I will finish the Pandavas, I will kill Arjuna. Or I will make Kṛṣṇa lift the weapon, because Kṛṣṇa has promised, right? I will either break his promise or I will kill. So now what happens is externally, we feel Kṛṣṇa has done so for him. Even Bhishma is a devotee. Though fighting on the opposite side, he's doing his duty, but he's a devotee, right? So what happens is Kṛṣṇa can stand on his word and protect his word, but then he has to sacrifice emotion of Bhishma and love of Arjuna. And Bhishma did this because he wanted to prove to the world that Kṛṣṇa will be willing to give up anything, including his word. And therefore, in the same thing, what does Kṛṣṇa decided is first time he takes the weapon and Arjuna tells, no, it's an emotional tangle, stop. So it gets nullified. second time he takes, telling that no, it's not out of emotion. And if you see the various things, right, Arjuna falls on Krishna's feet to hold him, right? Because power to power, though they may appear to be same age and equal, he wants to surrender because that's the easier way to hold someone, right? No, don't do this, because even if I die, I don't want you to do. But Krishna accepts the defeat that he has taken the thing, and Bhishma tells, yes, I won because I made him take the weapon. That way he beats, right? So Krishna won his defeat, and Bhishma creates an opportunity for Krishna to tell that you are the greatest devotee, and just for the sake of devotee, Krishna will do anything, even his word he doesn't care. He doesn't mind even giving up the word. That is the picture which we showed there. So if I can go back to the picture, just 2 minutes. Yeah, Jnana Yoga. I can't remember the slide though, but then quickly remember that picture which, he had taken that the chariot wheel and he tried to hit Bhishma. He's running, fiercely to him. That is mainly because of the fact that he wanted to play that, or rather keep up the promise that my devotee is more important than my word. That way he saved Arjuna also, and he kept up the word of our Bhishma Pitama. So in the same way he saved. I'll just show you the picture. Can you see on the right? Yeah, on the right. Can you see? And Arjuna falling on the feet, and Bhishma is just saying, kill me. It's nice that you kill me. He doesn't do that. So that is the story of Bhishma. This I end the story. Hare Krishna. Any other doubts? Otherwise, let's play Prabhupada's video. Okay, quickly. Arjuna's next birth is not Kanapa. He is not sage Ramadagni. I want you all to Google a little bit. And Sandhya, I hope you enjoyed the story of Bhishma. I'm trying to tell stories which I think normally may not have been covered. So if there's a duplication, bear with me. Hare Krishna. And next week, just if you all remind me, I will tell you the story of Hanuman. Someone wanted Hanuman story, so I'll tell Hanuman story.
Thank you, Mataji, for Bhishma story.
Not at all. Thank you so much. I'm also enjoying. So I will go silent, and Mohandas Prabhuji, can you do two things? Prabhupada's video, if you can show, or Neetu Mataji can show. And after you can show how to do the quizzes.
Okay, Mataji.
Done the quiz here in the team. I will be more than happy. Also, I need one small help from you all. Is there anybody who will be interested to do calling service? In the sense, we have some devotees who will be joining. And we also have few, not now, but then we'll have devotees who will be joining the next batch. They've registered, but for some reason, they are not able to log in. Since you're all experienced, you can have your view, because if we get our admins to call, it will just be a call. But here it will be Vijnanam, your personal experience of how you feel in class. So if you can write to Mohandas Prabhu is going to message his number here. If you can do that, he can share some contacts which are not ready now, but it will come. And you can call them and just find out what challenges they have. Sometimes the challenge could be that they may have an issue with the language, right? You can tell, you don't need to do anything. You don't have to resolve. You can just update in an Excel and send to Mohandas Prabhu, and he can put them in the group, because it will be a real great help if one of you all who is experiencing the class talk to them, because that will give a better feeling for them rather than from our side. So if it is fine, you can message Mohandas Prabhu, or you can message right now when the Prabhupada's video is going on in the chat, your number to Mohandas Prabhu, so he can make a note and he can connect it. Either ways is fine. Is that fine? Maybe whoever is willing can probably raise your hand or type in the chat, right? And Prabhu, you all can play Prabhupada's video, and I will go silent. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. We're able to hear the video. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Prabhu, it's visible. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Are you able to hear
audio
the
is not coming through, Prabhu.
No
You have to share
audio.
the audio. You can screen share again.
Just give me a second, please. I will.
Thank you so much, Mrinal. Hare Krishna.
This human form of life.
Audio is coming, video is not coming, Prabhu.
Not simply engage in sense gratification.
Both coming, thank you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, nothing is coming, Prabhuji, now.
Yeah, 1 minute, please. Just.
Neetu, can you share? Because I don't know Prabhu Mohandas Prabhu also. He's not doing too well.
Of life.
Is it okay?
Simply engage in sense gratification like cats and dogs. That is not very responsible life. Responsible life is that I have got this improved form of life than the cats and dogs, and I have got more intelligence than the cats and dogs. If I simply utilize it for 4 bodily necessities of life. 4 bodily necessities of life means we require some eating. The cats, dogs, human beings, or High Court judge or anyone, they require some eating. They require sleeping, apartment. So that is, cats and dogs can sleep without apartment. But the sleeping required, that is fact. Eating required, that is fact. And sex life, that is also fact. And defense, that is also fact. But these things are common to the cats and dogs and man, human being. So what is the special feature of the human being? The special feature of the human being is that a human being can consider that I have got this nice American and Australian or Indian body, then what I am going to get next? What kind of body? That is utilized for human intelligence. A cat and dog cannot think like that. Therefore our business should be, now by the nature's way, have come to this form of life, by evolutionary process. Now I have got good intelligence, how I shall utilize it? You are cultivating knowledge. The ultimate goal of knowledge, Kṛṣṇa says, is to know me. Vedashta sadvai ahameva vedam. The whole knowledge is meant for understanding God. That is the end of knowledge. By progressive knowledge, you can make progress, but unless you do not come to the point to understand what is God, then your knowledge is imperfect. That is called Vedanta. Athata Brahma Jigyasa. This human form of life, nice facility, intelligence, just like Australia was undeveloped since the Europeans came here. It is now very developed, resourceful, because the intelligence has been utilized. Maya Dhakshena prakriti shyate sacharatam. Nature is a machine. To do thing, a machine works without an operator. Do you think? Is there any evidence? Huh? Now this is a machine, photography. A wonderful machine. It is taking the picture and it will move. But there is an operator. Where is the machine which is working without operator? Can you give any example? Here is a machine which is working without operator. So how do you think that the nature machine is working without the supreme operator, God's instruction? How do you think it? This is not very reasonable. We have to judge. There are different evidences. One of the evidence is hypothesis. That hypothesis is that because we see that no machine works without operator, therefore we should conclude it, even though we do not know what is God, what is the nature, we must conclude it that the nature is working under some supreme operator, that is God. It is not necessary to see the operator, but we can guess that there must be operator. The human life is meant for finding out who is there to operate. That is human life. Otherwise it's cats and dogs life. They're eating, sleeping, mating and dancing, that's all. That is not human life. You must find out who is the operator. Athāta brahma jigyāsa, this is called in Sanskrit word. Now this human form of life is meant for inquiring about the supreme operator. Now that supreme operator, Kṛṣṇa, is so kind. He is giving evidence in the Bhagavad Gita. Maya dhakṣena prakriti syate sacharacharam. Now here I am, under my direction, the prakriti, the nature, material nature is working. So you accept, then your business is done. And Kṛṣṇa gave evidences how he is controlling the nature. When Kṛṣṇa was 7 years old, he lifted one big mountain on his finger. That means our understanding is that there is law of gravitation. By law of gravitation, such a big mountain, it cannot stay in one man's finger. That is our calculation. But he did it. That means he counteracted the law of gravitation. And that is God. So, if you believe this, then you know God immediately. There is no difficulty. Just like if the child is warned, my dear child, do not touch fire. It will burn you. So if the child accepts, then he gets the perfect knowledge immediately. If the child does not accept, he wants to make experiment, then he will burn his finger. So our process of knowledge we should take from the supreme authority. Then we save time for research work. That is Kṛṣṇa consciousness movement. We take perfect knowledge from Kṛṣṇa. I may be imperfect, just like child is imperfect. I may be imperfect, you may be imperfect. But if you take the perfect knowledge from the Supreme Perfect, then your knowledge is perfect. That is the process. This is called avarohopantha, knowledge coming, deductive knowledge. So everything is there, and if you like to take advantage of this movement, make your life perfect, go back to home, back to Godhead, then fully utilize the center, our Melbourne center, come here, read our books, and argue, try to understand with your full knowledge, no blindly acceptance. There is reason, there is argument, there is philosophy, there is science, everything is there. And if you accept that simply by chanting I shall realize, that is also allowed. Both ways. If you accept this simple process, the chant Hare Krishna and realize God, that is also fact. And if you think what is this nonsense chanting Hare Krishna, then you read books. Both ways we are prepared. Come and take advantage of this moment. Thank you very much.
He's a kind and gentle soul. His heart is never cold. So peaceful and poetic, with a message true and bold. He's never seeking praise, so silent and so grave. And his transcendental love is the magic in his ways. And when I see his love, I know I've got a long, long way to go. When will I taste the love that he is feeling inside? He's always meek and mild, with a warm and friendly smile, so simple in his living, singing all the while. He sings out Krishna's name, his glory and his fame, to serve his Lord and Master, in pleasure or in pain. And when I see his love, I know.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for playing. Now, Shyam Prabhu, for you, what I'm telling is registration, same place. You are going to level 2 for registration. Below that, there is quiz. You can just click the quiz, right? And I don't know if you've already registered. So English, anyway, all of you can go to, this is level 1.
Mataji, I already registered and I completed the quiz also.
Okay.
But after the second chapter, I think, again, I tried to fill that quizzes. After the second chapter, after the second chapter, I filled it. But on the third chapter, I tried to go to my account, and I didn't find that that quiz named Understanding the Gita in 18 weeks, level 2 English. That is not appearing.
I have just gone here. It says Bhakti Vriksha course, okay, level 2 English.
Yes, maybe it has been changed. Now I got it.
You got it? Okay, Prabhu. So if it's fine. If you still have a problem, please message Mohandas Prabhu. He'll be able to help.
Yes. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. So if you still just try your quizzes, I'll also take it up, but I'm able to see it in mine. So that's why. So thank you so much. And with this, we'll end the session and we will please read chapter 5. Arjuna again will be confused. So let's see how Arjuna is convinced by end of chapter. So with that, we'll end. Hare Krishna. Everyone, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Admins alone relog into the same ID. I'll end the meeting. Hare Krishna. Prema Mataji, I think you're the host, so you'll have to end the meeting.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. I'll end the meeting.
Sure. No.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.